Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and today is day 99 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on gratitude. Yay! I'm at day 99! I can't believe it, I have one day left. Yay! That's so exciting. I'm super excited. Um, just saying that I made it this far is just super exciting. So I'm very grateful to have made it to 99 days, and I'm grateful for the people that have come with me on this journey. And for anyone that chooses to watch in the future, awesome, exciting. um, anyway, so today's been an interesting day. Kind of reminded once again of some things. Mostly that actions speak louder than words, and also the reminder that, other people's negative actions have impacted my life negatively, and I've used those as excuses to not do things or not fulfill my own commitments or do things for myself. And I've also learned or been reminded recently that a lot of some of my issues and problems are things that I have done to myself, but also realizing that my actions too can also impact other people in a negative way. So that when I don't follow through on things that I've committed or agreed to do, then it hurts other people just like it hurt me. And that's that reminder to me to remember the golden rule, to do unto others as you would have done unto you. So that if I say I'm going to do something, I need to do it. What is that? That's saying my word is my bond. And I haven't been very good at that lately. I used to be good at that. I used to be where I would bend over backwards for everybody else and do whatever I said I was going to do for someone else, and it would always get done for someone else, and I wouldn't do it for myself. But anything I said for myself just didn't get done. And then I think after my divorce, I just stopped doing anything for anyone, including myself. And now I'm struggling to get caught up and to do the stuff that I'm telling other people I would do. And I'm trying to be like, okay, I can volunteer and do stuff. And I'm like, if I can't do it, if I'm not going to do it, I need to stop saying I'm going to do it. I need to stop saying I'm available to do it until I can do it. And where I'm struggling to just do things for myself, I need to stop agreeing to do things for other people. But I'm like, I want to do it for them because I want them to do it for me. And then that's like, it's kind of selfish and greedy, and it's not in the right frame of mind of doing things. And then and then when I don't do it, then I can't expect them to do for me. And of course, I've been in a position where I do for other people and they don't do for me. And right now it seems like other people are doing for me, and they have been doing for me, and I'm really grateful. And I want to be in a situation where I can do for other people, which is something that I really would like to be able to do. And I think that's part of the reason why I want to write my books. I don't know if it'll put me in a better position to financially help other people, but I'd like to be able to. I'd like to at least be in a better position financially for myself, so I'm not feeling like I'm behind on everything all the time and not stressing about that. That would be nice. But it would be nice to just follow through on all of my dreams and my goals, and then show other people just by example that, hey, this can be done. We can do this. It's okay. And maybe help be like a motivational type speaker for other people. Be like, hey, cool, you can do this. I don't know how motivational my videos are for anybody. If nothing else, I hope that they're just like that people can relate to my videos and be like, oh yeah, I have that problem too. Oh yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Because, I have a lot of aha moments when I'm saying things that just jump out at me, or I say things to other people and it comes back to me and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do that myself. Oftentimes I feel like I'm kind of like a hypocrite, or one of those people that's like, easier said than done, because I can say it and people are like, oh, that's so wise. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do that. I need to do that. I should do that. That's how things should work. But that's not how it works in my life. So I want to be more of a person that does what I say, and not just says random things. My biological mom used to say that all the time. She would be like, do what I say, not what I do. And the problem is that we as children, we as people, we do what people do, not what they say. And the words don't have a whole lot of meaning if there's no action behind them. And I need to do better at following through on things that I'm going to say I'm going to do for myself as well as for other people. And I'm excited because this is something I said I was going to do. And even though there's lots of other things I thought I was going to do for this video, like getting my book published, and that still hasn't happened, I have successfully gotten through 99 days of making YouTube videos which I am amazed, because it means that I am following through on something I said that I was going to do, and I need that to carry over into other things that I do, and um, and that's all part of my needing to face my reality and face the things that I keep avoiding, and that's the hard part, because I think when I avoid my emotions, I avoid my struggles. That's my default setting, avoidance, because I don't want to feel things, so that I'm just too tired to do it, or I don't want to deal with it, or I will find something else so that I don't think about it, even though it keeps popping up in my head, and I'm like, okay, God, I know you want me to do that. I know that's the right thing to do, but I just don't want to do it right now. And I can't tell you how many times in my life I have done that. And it's so sad that I've done that, because I know that if I had been willing to set aside my games or movies or daydreams or whatever it was that I was avoiding, whatever it was I was using to avoid doing what I needed to do, that I would have felt a whole lot better, because I always feel better once I face stuff, once I deal with stuff, call the credit card companies, and like they close my credit card. I'm like, good, because I don't need the dumb thing. It always gets me in trouble anyway. I do better without those things. Look forward to paying them off so I have some extra money. All good, all good. But then call and talk to them like, oh, and they're more than willing to set up a payment plan that's much more reasonable. And it works. Talking to people works. Facing things, following through on things that I said I was going to do. And then I feel better about myself. And then it's like this weight is lifted and I don't have to carry it around anymore. But when I don't follow through, when I don't finish what I set out to do, when I don't, all of those things, it gets further and further behind. It gets harder and harder to do. And then it gets harder and harder to catch up. and even though people are willing to help, but I'm like, cool, I get caught up temporarily. But if I don't change, it doesn't work, because then I go right back to my old habits, and then I'm still go right back to avoiding and not doing and not paying bills and not cleaning my house so other people can come and do it for me. I'm like, cool, it's done. This is awesome. I love this. And then I don't maintain it. And so I need to work on being more consistent, on maintaining, on following through with what I say that I'm going to do, because I feel good when I face my life. I feel good when I do things that I'm supposed to do. And even though I know I didn't get a lot of sleep, it's so funny. I got like 3 hours of sleep, and I got up and I went to church today and I did stuff, and then I came home and I'm like, all right, I need to go back to sleep and take a nap. And I had too much energy. I was like, what the heck? I had 3 hours of sleep. And I couldn't go back to sleep. And I was like, oh. And then I had the thought I should go like put my dishes away. I could go do dishes. I could read my scriptures and meditationals. I could do all of these things throughout the day, and then I could go to bed tonight, and it would be fantastic. And I didn't do any of those things. I laid down in my bed. I'm like, I'm going to go to sleep. I can't sleep, so I played games on my phone until I was tired enough to fall asleep. I was like, how sad is that? Like, I'm forcing myself to try to sleep when clearly my body has energy. And because I went and did things, and I'm like, okay, I'm in a doing mode. I should not resist that. But I did. I resisted it. And I don't know why I do that. I still avoid my life. And it's like, hey, I could go put the dishes away. That would be great. I could go wash some more dishes. My kitchen would start looking even nicer than it does right now. This would be awesome. These would be good things. And I didn't do that. And then, honestly, I finally did I did take a nap. I probably slept for another 3 hours, and now I feel worse than I did when I slept for the first 3 hours. And I just want to curl up in my bed and go back to sleep right now. But I can't, because I have all these things that I need to do that I could have done earlier today. But I'm not going to beat myself up over it, because I'm still in the process of changing. And if nothing else, I'm grateful that I'm aware of what I'm doing, and that I can start to be aware that my choices and my actions are actually detrimental to myself. Like, I think I knew that they were detrimental to myself, but I don't think I realized how detrimental they were. And it's like, hello, I need to get up and move around. I'm overweight anyway, so any exercise or movement I get is good for my body. And if I have the energy and I'm willing to do dishes right now, I should go do dishes. I shouldn't just avoid them, because then they just pile up and get worse. So, but I am grateful that when I got up, I did make food for dinner tonight. I just took some spinach, cooked it with some mushrooms, and had that, and some leftover muffins from last week that I made, or Monday, I think is when I did some cooking. And then I had some pork chops, so I cooked some pork chops. Yummy dinner for me. let me tell you, I'm actually feeling pretty full. That felt really good. So I was like, yay, I can make food. And I'm grateful I can make food because I had some clean dishes. And it'd be nice if I had some more clean dishes. And now I have dirty dishes. I need to wash them. But they're still just sitting there because I chose not to do them. And that's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up because I know the change is going to come slowly. And I think there was something in conference that someone said that you can replace the bad as fast as the good can grow. And so it takes time to grow the good, to replace the bad. And to try to get rid of all the bad at once when there's nothing to replace it with is really hard because then the bad comes back. And sometimes it's even harder to get rid of the bad because those old default settings are really stubborn and they're really deep. And so unless you've got something good to stick in there, when you pop that bad out there, you got to have something good to pop back in there, like really quickly, like swap. And then you have to maintain that good. You have to continue to do that in order to keep the other at bay because it's just sitting there. It's like it's waiting. It's like, okay, that's my spot. I'm ready to go back to that default setting anytime. Because there's this little button. I swear they have that on all the computers or in phones and stuff. Reset to default settings. And when I stop doing things I'm supposed to, or when traumatic things happen in my life, I swear that button gets pushed every time, and it's this reset button, and all the default settings come back, and all the good things, all the progress, everything I've worked so hard to do disappears, and it all falls apart, and I am back at square one, and I have to start all over again, and it sucks. But I don't think I'm really starting back over at square one because at least I know the process works. I know I can feel better. And at some point, I would like to not let those default settings take over when traumatic things happen in my life. I would love to say there will never be any more traumatic things in my life, but my life experiences have taught me differently. But doing these gratitude videos has taught me that there are so many other good things that have happened in my life that I have forgotten to see, and that there's a lot of things in my life that I have just simply avoided. I've just simply chosen not to live my life, not to experiment or explore because I was afraid. I'm afraid of stupid things and things that other people didn't say or do to me. They're just things that I felt or thought that I had to do, or trying to please other people, which I've learned doesn't work. I still haven't figured out how to, make myself 100% happy 100% of the time. But lots of people always seem to think that I'm such a happy person. And I'm like, am I such a happy person? And maybe I am a much happier person than I realize. It's just that I focus too much on the things that don't work in my life and too much on the depression and the negative. And I have been learning to focus on the gratitude. And then even when I start, having a bad day or negative feelings, I'm like, okay, why am I feeling this way? I'm at work. I need to be working. I'm having a good night. I have to remind myself that I'm having a good night. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a little bit tired because it's later than I usually want to work. Or I'm hungry. I haven't eaten in a while. So I'm just, a little bit ornery. So little things like that. It's like, okay, so these are things that are counting against me. And this is why my default settings go to negative and I start just grumbling and moaning and wanting to complain about everything. But I'm starting to realize, I'm like, I don't really want to complain about everything. I'm just noticing, I'm aware that I'm complaining. I'm like, okay, what am I complaining about? Seriously, what do I have to complain about? And then I realize I really don't have a lot to complain about, especially when I start looking at all the things that I'm grateful for and the way that things are going and the way that things are working and that I can work through this. And sometimes it helps me to just be like, okay, but this is, again, temporary, the situation that I'm in or my attitude. I'm like, okay, I don't want to work anymore, but I need to for a couple more hours. So I'm like, okay, but it's only a couple more hours. And then I can look at it that way. I can also look at how well my night has gone and be grateful for all the things that have happened up to that point. And as I start listing all the things that I'm grateful for and seeing where I'm at and how far I have to go, I'm like, okay, you know what? It's totally doable. I can do this. And then there's that lovely reminder that I am capable of more than I give myself credit for. And then I think I'm starting to be grateful that God put that thought into my head, that little reminder for me, because I can do this. I just tell myself that I can't, or I just hit the brakes and I stop, or I do what I did today. And I'm like, I'm going to lay down and take a nap, and I'm not tired enough to fall asleep. I'm like, I should be, because I only got 3 hours of sleep. But apparently I'm wide awake right now because I got up and went to church and did stuff. So my body's like, okay, we're awake. And the sun is up and whatever, we're awake. And I was like, no, we're not. We're going to sleep. No. But so I wish that I would have chosen to use my time more wisely. And if nothing else, I'm aware how that's hurting me, because now it means that when I am tired and wanting to fall asleep and could totally go to sleep right now, I totally get to stay up for several more hours because I have other things to do because I chose not to do this earlier. So I'm hurting myself that way. But then I'm also grateful for the realization and reminder that when I don't follow through on my commitments, not only to myself, but to other people, that I'm also hurting other people. And I didn't like it when people did that to me, so I need to stop doing that to other people. And so I feel bad about that. But I'm thinking the best way to make amends for that is to change my actions, to start doing what I said that I was going to do, to go back and make up, catch up, do whatever I can so that I am not that I'm not behind, that I am doing that, and that if I can't meet a commitment, that I need to talk to that person and say, hey, for whatever reason I can't do this, and I'm sorry, I thought I could and I can't. Or I need to stop accepting new commitments if it's something, or volunteering for something if it's something I know I don't have the time and energy to do. Then I just need to politely say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that right now. And that's okay, because then at least I'm being honest with myself and I'm being honest with the other person, and then I'm not hurting them and myself by saying I can do something I can't do, or that I'm not willing to do, or whatever the case may be. So I'm learning that there are lots of more things for me to learn to do, and lots more things for me to learn to change. And I'm also very grateful that instead of beating myself up, instead of hating myself like I probably would have 99 days ago. I know that makes me think of 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Sorry. My brain goes random places, random things. Anyway, instead of beating myself up like I would have 99 days ago, I'm not beating myself up right now. I am just recognizing something in myself that I know needs to change, and I'm grateful for the recognition. And I think that is the difference between guilt and shame, because I think shame makes you feel bad about yourself. It makes you feel like you're wrong as an individual or a person, and makes you want to hide and run away, and it doesn't solve anything. And guilt makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, and it makes you want to change or do something differently to resolve the issue, to solve the problem. And I'm grateful that I can see the difference. And I'm also grateful that for once in my life, I just feel a little bit of guilt, and I know that I can face the issue and I can fix it, versus the shame where it's like, okay, I'm a horrible, terrible person and I'm just going to hide in my corner and do nothing, which just makes the problem worse. And it makes me feel worse about myself, and then it makes me feel like other people feel worse about me, which maybe they do because I disappointed them, or I unintentionally lied to them because I said I was going to do something and I didn't follow through with it. So then they're not going to believe me, they're not going to trust me. So I'm ruining relationships by doing that, and that's not really what I want to do. That's not my intention of doing things, and I realize that it puts other people in a bad situation. But I'm grateful today that I can admit that I can admit my mistakes. I know I'm not going to change them overnight. I would love to say that I've recognized my mistake and it's over and that's it and I'm done. I know people that anyway, maybe I've been like that in the past, where like you say sorry and that fixes things, and I'm like, it doesn't. The action has to change to match the words. So yes, I feel bad, I feel guilty, but in order for me to fix it, I need to make amends. And the best way to make amends is to change the action, to say, okay, I'm sorry this happened, let me see what I can do to fix it, and try to fix it, try to change, try to make my actions match my words. And if I can't make my actions, then I need to change my words and say, I can't do those actions, I'm sorry, I can't do this for you. And they can be upset about that, but I'd rather they be upset that I said no than say yes and have the disappointment and then feeling horrible about myself. So I'm grateful that I can see the difference. I like being able to recognize things in me, things that I can change. And I'm grateful I don't see myself as a horrible person for these mistakes, that I can admit that I made the mistake, that I can see what I'm doing, that I can see how it's harming me and how it's harming other people. And it's like, okay, that's a nice little reminder that I'm not perfect. I will not be perfect. I think somewhere in my little world, I think, okay, well, I just never do anything, so I can't possibly hurt people. Why do people hate me? I'm like, well, because I say I'm going to do stuff and I don't, or because nobody gets to know me, because I don't open my mouth, I don't speak up for myself. So I'm grateful I'm getting to learn how to do these things. I'm grateful I'm recognizing these things in myself, and I'm grateful to know that they're not permanently bad things, and I'm grateful to know that it's not a bad personality trait. It's not a maybe a character defect or something. I don't know what people call it. It doesn't make me a horrible person. It just means that I need to work on myself like everyone else does. And that when I recognize something, that I need to work on changing it and being better in the future. And I'm grateful that I can see the positive side of that, that I can see the lesson and learn from that instead of the other way around. And so I'm grateful that I can do that today, and I'm grateful that I'm not going to spend the rest of the night beating myself up, but I'm just going to try to do the best that I can to do better in the future and to be better at saying what I mean or what I can do, instead of saying, instead of agreeing to things or taking on more than I can chew. Because there is that saying, don't run faster than you're able, don't take on more than you can chew, that sort of a thing. So I need to not try to do more than I can. I know I'm capable of more than I give myself credit for, but I need to stop thinking I could do everything I could do 20 years ago. And maybe in another couple of years, I will be able to, as I start slowly re-adding things to my life and working through my issues, and hopefully at some point exercising and eating healthier and doing more things to take better care of myself. But right now, I'm not in a position to do that. So right now, I'm kind of in a position where I'm being very selfish, and I need to, because I need to take care of myself. I need to heal from all of the trauma and the grief and the things that I've been through. I need to make changes in my life that put myself in a better position to where I can help other people, where I can be there for other people, where I'm not disappointing myself first, and then I will be less likely to disappoint other people too. Because if I don't keep my commitments to myself first, then I'm the one that suffers, and then I don't think the work that I do for other people is as good as it could be, because and then I'm always doing it because I want something from the other person, and not because I'm just doing it out of selfless love or care for the other person. Not because I just want them to be happy. Like my friend that helped me make that board, she's like, "Oh, I just want you to be happy." And I was like, "That's so cool. That's so nice." I'm like, I want to be that kind of person. I want to be like my friend. And I hope that I'm working towards that as I do these videos, and as I work on focusing on gratitude, that I can see these changes that I need to make, that I can see other people more clearly as I see myself more clearly. And I'm grateful that I'm not hating myself for my mistakes, that I can see I'm making mistakes, and that I can see a way to try to fix them. And I'm also grateful that now I don't have to fix them overnight, because I'm not a perfect person, so it's not going to happen overnight. But I can try to do the best that I can and scale back while I'm dealing with everything and trying to add new things to my life. And that as I get some kind of schedule and regiment things going and start facing things and resolving old things, that I will be able to take on new things. And maybe that's why I had to do this gratitude video before I could work on my books and get them published and all of that. There's an order and a reason, and things have to happen in a certain order and reason. And I like to skip things. I like to jump ahead to the future and just kind of like keep telling Heavenly Father, I'm like, look, I know this is where I'm at, and I know this is where I want to be in the future. Do this little hand thing. This is where I'm at, and this is where I want to be. And I'm like, is there any way I could just jump from here to here without having to go through all the stuff in the middle? And the answer to that is always no, which is really annoying, because you have to go through all the little stuff in the middle to get to the other side. So, but I know it's possible to get there, and I'm grateful that I know it's possible, and I'm grateful to know that I can do this. And I'm grateful that I made it to day 99, because I followed through on at least this one commitment, and it makes me hopeful that I can do that with the next 100 days or another 100 days of things that I add. And as I continue to share them in videos, that I will be able to track my progress and see where it is that I end up, because I don't know. And I hope in the end it will actually result in some published books, because that is my goal. But that's not my only goal. My goal is also to get closer to my Savior. It's to get healthier, to feel better about myself, to get myself in a better financial situation, to get in a better emotional situation, to be happy with who I am and where I'm at in my life, to do all of those things that I put on my board. And I'm grateful for my friend that helped me put that together. I'm grateful I can look at that every day. Even if I don't read everything on it, I can look at it and see it, and I know what's on there, and I'm just grateful for that, and for the things that jump out at me every day, because those are things, little reminders to me that I need, or reminder of things that I want to work on and my reasons why. And I'm grateful for all of that. And I'm grateful to be able to share these videos with all of you and the progress that I'm making. And that's all I have for today. So if you like, hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think it will help them too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude.